And welcome in, everybody. Vasu Vaddiparty here on the Make the Money and Run podcast for this Wednesday, January 11th, January 12th, something like that. I forgot what day it says. Now we're going through it. Happy New Year. As you see, we have a guest, a special show today. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow, 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, to review the weekend in football, NBA, NHL, NCAA basketball, everything that's going on. But right now, it's all about the NFL. It's all about the playoffs. What a weekend it was that ended. Thanks to everybody on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter for joining us live. The great Matt Maiocco of NBCSportsBayArea.com. Hi, Matt. Happy New Year.
Vasu, Happy New Year to you too. Hope all is well. We're gearing up for what should be an exciting week one of the playoffs, because week 18 of the regular season certainly lived up to expectations or exceeded expectations. So I don't know if it can be that exciting, but just the build up to this game and what it means will get the juices flowing for sure.
Well, I think the NFL certainly had no idea it was going to be like this, adding a 17th game in a week 18, because holy cow, everybody was still alive basically until about 2 weeks ago. We only had the Packers were the only team in 2 weeks ago officially into the playoffs, and then a few more teams got in, and then now after the Sunday night game that nearly ended in a tie and took the Steelers out. How about the Colts losing to Jacksonville? All these things that happened. You're right, everything that happened. But let's start where you were in Los Angeles. 17-0 down. All the Twitter haters were on Garoppolo all year. I know we talked about it during the summer. And sure enough, the pass rush came in. The running game got going. They beat up Stafford big time. Garoppolo with his thumb, the issue with the thumb going in. I think I heard you on local radio here in the Bay Area where we live. I think you said, did he get shot up at halftime, or was that during the week, or do we know that for sure?
Well, I think both. I don't know if he got shot up at halftime, but before the game, they did something, and they tried to work that out during the course of the week too, just to see if it was going to be manageable, if he could throw the ball with a painkiller in there. So yeah, I mean, I would assume they'll do the same thing. Probably not a whole lot of reason to change up based on how he played and how the team performed, especially in the second half.
Let's bottle up that second half for you 49er fans out there. Geez, that was probably the best comeback all year that they've had, considering how the season has gone. The bad start they got off to, we talked during the summer. Certain things had to happen. When was Trey Lance going to play? When was he not going to play? Everybody, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, and we said this during the summer, Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't get enough credit for winning, and he gets too much blame for losing. And I think that's unfair for him. And whatever 2022 brings next fall, that's a different story for today. But talk about the second half of the game. I mean, you said it in the summertime. Their pass rush came through in the second half. It kind of helped out the DBs. They clearly could stop the run. And then I don't know what was going on with McVay at the half there, because then does that guy ever blink anyway when he does press conferences? I mean, that's the one thing. And he's going down and celebrate. You think the 49ers noticed when he went down to celebrate that he's taking this thing a little bit, gamesmanship, I know. But, geez, that was a little too much for me.
The players and even Kyle Shanahan claimed that they didn't see Sean McVay do that. But clearly it sent a message to their own team, which was the game's over. It was time to celebrate. And so I'm not sure that was a great message. I mean, well, there's so many layers to that too, sure, right? I mean, you're the head coach. Shouldn't you let the players do the celebrating, and you have to throw yourself into the mix there? So to me, it showed a lot of immaturity. And for a guy who's been in the league now as a head coach for several years, you wouldn't expect him to kind of freak out like that in that kind of situation. But it also maybe told you the kind of stress that they were under, the kind of pressure they were under to beat the 49ers, having lost to them going into that game 5 straight times, and now it's up to 6. But I think as far as Jimmy Garoppolo and the defense and everything else, what really happened was late in the first half, the 49ers started to kind of piece things together, and the defense very late in that half started getting some stops. And then really the key sequence of the game, and I think it gave the 49ers some hope, was to move down the field very quickly and get the 3 points at the end of the half, because they knew they're getting the ball to start the second half too. And for them to go ahead and score, get a 3 and out and score again, that's really right there where the momentum changed. And of course, all that would be for naught. We wouldn't be talking about that if it weren't for them going back down the field late in regulation and scoring the tying points there. So so many guys on that team kind of stepped out into extraordinary roles to do things that they hadn't done before. In the case of Dante Johnson playing nickelback and then playing safety, in the case of Kyle Juszczyk being the holder, in the case of Robbie Gould being the punter, Darquez Denard, who has just signed with the team on Wednesday, he's on the field and playing some critical snaps in that game. So there was just a lot going on. And I think kind of the thing that the overriding thought I had, even watching the second half of that game, was the level of toughness. And usually when we talk about toughness, we're talking about the defensive side of the ball. Well, they showed some pretty good mental toughness, and the front seven played very well, and they played well enough on the back end. And of course, Ambry Thomas with that interception to clinch it. But just the tough-mindedness out of Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell, the way he runs the ball, and Jimmy Garoppolo and that offensive line, a guy like Colton McKivitz had not suited up for a game the entire season. And his assignment, go out there, block Von Miller, and replace, maybe the best offensive player in the game, Trent Williams. So it was an extraordinary effort. And now I guess the hard part is now they got to flip the switch, forget about it, and start preparing to face the Dallas Cowboys, because right now every team that opens, all 14 teams are 0-0, and I really think every team has as good a chance as the other in this playoffs.
All right, let's break it down to basics here. We talked at the beginning of the year, or we talked in the summertime, and then they got off to a bad start, and people were complaining this, and this. I'm just going to thumbnail it right now, and you tell me if I'm wrong. The running game and the pass rush, those two things work. They're successful. Those two things don't work, or one of the two things don't work, it's not a successful game for the 49ers, because then you rely on other avenues that may not be the strength of the team. Fair or unfair?
Yeah, no, I mean, those are very high on that list. Very, very key elements. I think the run defense has been very good, and that's kind of enabled the pass rush to get after quarterbacks, because teams can't run on the 49ers. The last 8 games of the season, teams have not been able to run the ball. And then, I think it's probably the same with every team in the league, but, cut down on, eliminate the turnovers, pick up a couple yourself, and now you're cooking. But yeah, I think that those are the things. This offense is so much better when they're able to get that run game going, move the chains, get in third and shorts, and have Garoppolo pick up those easy pitch and catch for first downs on third down. They can't. There have been games where people would say, "Oh, why didn't they run the ball? Why didn't they stick with the run?" Well, sometimes, when you're running the ball and it's now 3rd and 8, and you throw the ball and it's incomplete, you go to the sideline. It's tough to get anything going. So it's kind of one of those things where success breeds success. And that's the formula for the 49ers. They're a physical team. They want to control the ball. I think it's important this game against the Cowboys more than ever, because they're facing, the number 1 ranked offense in the league. Whether they're the number 1 offense or not, that remains to be seen. Their schedule, what wasn't a great schedule, playing in the NFC East, but they're a 12-win team. They got a lot of firepower. They got a lot of talented players on both sides of the ball. So the 49ers cannot fall behind 17-0 against the Cowboys and expect to repeat that formula that they did Week 18 in LA.
Okay, one quick thing on the game here. When it was, I guess when they were down 7 points, I don't remember the exact situation, but there was a scenario where it was 3rd and 10 and Garoppolo got sacked to 4th and 18. There was some conjecture that maybe at 4th and 10, the way coaches go for it on 4th down, that there was maybe a possibility that he might have gone for it, talking about Kyle Shanahan on 4th down specifically. I don't know what your thought was on that, but the sack took that away and ended up working out in their favor, because they were able to get position on that and able to stop them, and then end up, I think, was it tied when that sack? I can't remember when that sack happened, but
well, I think what you're talking about is the sack that happened at the 2-minute mark.
Yes,
and then the 49ers still had 3 timeouts, and it was 4th and long, and so they sent Robbie Gould out there,
right.
And so the reason they decided to go ahead and punt it there was because they did have the 3 timeouts remaining. Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know what the numbers say.
I mean, he's not Brandon Staley. I get it, but
yeah, I mean, it worked. Sure. And I know that, the numbers came out after that it was like a 0.4%
Right.
chance 49ers had of winning at that point. And Shanahan was kind of surprised at those numbers because he said we did have 3 timeouts left, so we could have gotten the ball back. I mean, there's so much to second guess. You don't do as much second guessing when you win.
Right.
My question was on the 3rd and 6 or whatever it was with the Rams. They invested a lot in Matthew Stafford.
Right.
He's their guy that's going to take them to the promised land.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that they didn't put the ball in his hands and say, make a first down and we win the game. They knew they weren't going to get the first down running the ball because they hadn't got any running yards on the 49ers all game. So basically at that point they said, we trust our defense will make the stop, and we trust the defense more than we trust Matthew Stafford.
Make the Money and Run podcast. Vasu Vaddiparty here with Matt Maiocco of NBC Sports Bay Area. Okay, 49ers in the playoffs. They had to do it on their own. They came back in great fashion in LA against a team that they dominated. I'm going to take half credit for the Cardinals that I didn't believe them in the beginning of the year. In the middle of the year, I looked right, but you were all on Kyler Murray. The Rams and Cardinals play one of the NFC games. Of course, they're playing Dallas right now, talking about the 49ers. So here's the stat. Dallas undefeated within their division, won by an average of 22.5 points a game. I didn't do the calculation on what they were outside of the division, other than I know they were 6-5, and I don't know what the point differential was. 49ers attack them with the running game, and they can go after the secondary, or is it the running game, pure and simple, 70-30 percentage-wise?
Well, if it's 70-30 percentage-wise, the 49ers will be packing up and going to Green Bay.
Right.
They will want to run the ball. They'll want to get that going. They think that they can run the ball. I think the Cowboys give up around 4.5 yards a carry defensively. So, how do you take the steam out of that pass rush? It's by running at Micah Parsons. It's by running at Randy Gregory. It's running at DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, I think they feel like they can overpower just about any team in the league. And so that is certainly what they want to do. And then you'll get the ball to George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, get the ball, those guys in space and let them do their thing. So, they would absolutely love to run the ball, but in order to run the ball and run the ball at the volume they want to run the ball, they have to pick up those third downs. Garoppolo has to be accurate. They have to use play action. They have to unload the bag. I mean, they have to use every club they have. Hey, that's interesting what you said about the record, the Cowboys record in conference and out. I know they've beaten 3 playoff teams or three wins against playoff teams, but 2 of them were the Eagles.
Right.
49ers have 4 wins against playoff teams. So the 49ers are going to want to come at the Cowboys and say, yes, you're the number 1 ranked offense in the league, both with yards and points, but you haven't faced a defense like this. And I think the good news for the 49ers is right now, their defense is as healthy as it's been all season, since week 1 anyway. Emmanuel Mosley at cornerback coming back is a huge deal. Ambry Thomas getting better and better at the other cornerback is a huge deal. Dre Greenlaw was fired up to the point where now he has to kind of tap the brakes a little bit and get under control. But you could see with his 12 tackles that defense is a lot better, a lot more physical when he's out there. So, and you mentioned the pass rush. I mean, they come at you at waves, and they're not saving Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead for anything else. So those guys are gonna, those guys, it's their job to go out there and force Dak Prescott into mistakes. You have a guy like Arden Key who's having this, I was going to say rejuvenation, but he's never had a juvenation since he's been in the NFL. So, rushing from the inside, he's doing his job. Samson Ebukam, DJ Jones, they got a lot of different guys on that defensive line that they can just kind of rotate in and try to make things so difficult on Prescott to get the ball to those outside wideouts.
Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second here. So Dak Prescott comes off his injury, looks great all year. I know he missed the couple of games, and Cooper Rush came in and they won that Minnesota game on Sunday night. Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard are splitting time now, even though Elliott did get over 1,000 yards. It's not Roger Craig and and Wendell Tyler days, but it sure looks similar to the sense that they're using 2 running backs. And then their receivers, I know they lost Gallup probably for the rest of the playoffs, but they have Amari Cooper and they've got